Absolute Lawless here, coming at you with another One Piece video, and in today's One Piece video we are going to be taking a look at all the leaders coming out in OP08. Over the last 2 weeks we've been getting these leaders revealed, and we finally got the last one the other day, so it's finally time to make a video talking about every single one of them. And of course guys, we haven't released this video yet because I was waiting for all 6 of them to come out so I could give you guys my thoughts and opinions of every single leader in one video. So we're going to be doing that today. Hopefully you do enjoy, and let's go ahead and see what all 6 of these new leaders in OP08 do. So, starting off we have Tony Chopper. Finally, another Straw Hat has entered the leader fray, and he is our little man Tony Chopper, and it's the pre-time skip version as well, before he gets his like blue hat which kind of covers his current hat here, which I still don't get why he wears that to be completely honest, but hey, who cares? Let's go ahead and talk about it. So, what does Tony Chopper do? So he's a red-green leader, 4 life, 5k power, Animal Kingdom, Drum Kingdom, and Straw Hat crew. So he has the ability that says, activate main once per turn, put up to 1 rested Don each on up to 3 of your Animal or Drum Kingdom type characters. Now, I have one qualm with this. I feel like this should have also been able to put Arrested Don on Straw Hat crew characters. Why? Because he is literally a Straw Hat pirate. He should have been able to put 1 Rested Dom on at least 1 Straw Hat pirate character, but hey, you can't always have that. But nonetheless, this leader is actually pretty interesting because it means that some ideas for a lot of different cards that could be coming out this set, such as Dr. Kureha, she is definitely one. Dr. Hiraluke, Chopper's dad, could definitely be another one. Like, I can't remember his name, but you could get the current King of Drum Island, or I think it's called Cherry Blossom Island now, which the guy who turns into the ball, I completely forgot his name, can't remember it, do apologize. Like, you could get a lot of different characters in this set for this archetype from the Drum Island arc, which is actually pretty cool. You could even have Wapple, who's currently king of the Dark Drum Kingdom or Evil Drum Kingdom, which is actually really interesting. And another good thing about this leader specifically is that, well, we've had animal type characters coming out ever since the start of the game in OP01, and finally they have a purpose for their type. A leader can finally be used with them. Now, we do not have a lot of red-green ones. We have, like, I think a majority red ones where we have Chopper versions, we have Karu, we have the Kung Fu Dugons. I think we've got the dog from the Land of Wano as well, which is really nice. And then we've got a few in green, which I think just Mumu and Chopper counter, but it's like we're finally getting this support for this archetype, and that means we can also finally get animal type cards that actually do quite a bit. Like, for instance, we could get an animal type searcher to search any type of animal in the game. What would the character be that you would have as an animal searcher? I'm not too sure. Like, personally, if I was to make an animal searcher, it wouldn't be someone from the Drum Kingdom arc. It would be, I can never remember names, I'm so terrible at this, but it'd be the guy who was in the one episode, the guy who was in the chest and is kind of like scrunched in there and can't get out, and he would probably be the one I would have to be an animal searcher, because, well, his character is literally all about protecting animals now, so it would be very, very cool to see him. Like, I'm pretty sure he already has a card in the game as well. I think he's got an East Blue card. I can't remember its name, but he's a really interesting character, and I would probably put him as an animal searcher. He would also be an East Blue card as well, because obviously he's from the East Blue, so it would be interesting to see if, well, One Piece or Bandai do make that. So, first leader, Chopper. Actually really interesting to see. Definitely gives us a lot of potential for different support in animal area and the Drum Kingdom area, and I can't wait to see what characters actually get brought in with this card. So let's go ahead and go on to the next leader now, which is Carrot. Okay, so we got Carrot as a leader. What does she do? So Carrot, green leader, 5 life, 5k powers, special mink. Activate main once per turn. If you have a character with the mink types in play, rest up to 1 of your opponent's 5 cost or less characters. Now, personally, not a big fan of Carrots. I'm not a big fan of her leader because, well, she does slightly better than Perona, but Perona overall is just better because you don't need to control a character to use her rest ability, and she's also got the black typing, which is just a lot better. Now, I feel like to make her good, they'll have to make like Nekomamushi's Dogstorm, like they'll have or Inarasha as his other name is, like they'll have to make Mink characters that just do a lot. Like they'll need to be one locked to a Mink leader so that other leaders don't take them and, you know, abuse them in ways, which is why Carrot should exist. And I'm curious to see what kind of characters they would make for the Mink tribe, because there's a lot of Minks that they could take into account. Pedro is definitely one where I do see getting a character card in this set, just because Pedro is essentially Carrot's teacher, so definitely going to get one. Another one is the dog mink. I cannot remember her name. I'm really terrible at naming, guys. I do apologize, but the dog mink will definitely be getting a character card in this as well. I think she already has one in OP02, like as some mink support there, so that could be something that sees support and play now thanks to this. And it's going to be interesting to see what kind of cards they make that do really go with this. I feel like we're going to get more green cards that KO rested characters, because it just makes sense, because they're like, that's kind of like Green's theme, where it will KO rested characters, and with Carrot being able to rest characters or 5 cost or less, I feel like that's going to be something that will be very in tune with this leader. So it'll be interesting to see what Bandai make with character-wise with this card. So yep, that's my thoughts on Carrot. Let's go on to the next one, which is Marco, another Whitebeard leader. Okay, so Whitebeard Pirates leader here. Marco, red-blue leader. Finally, a red-blue leader that might be able to do stuff, which has 4 life, 5k power, Whitebeard Pirates, 1 Dawn, activate main once per turn, draw 1 card, then place 1 card from your hand on the top or bottom of your deck. Then give up to 1 of your opponent's characters -2 cost for this turn. Now guys, this leader is absolutely insane. This leader has essentially what Sakazuki has, but better. Like, when you really think about this, like, Sakazuki is the blue-black leader that cycles cards in hand and decreases cost. Marco here is essentially the same thing. It cycles cards in hand, not putting them in trash because of, well, red doesn't really interact with trash and blue doesn't either, but putting them to the bottom of the deck, getting those dead cards out of your hand and getting a new card that could potentially work. So if you have, like, I don't know, a 1k card in hand, you can go ahead and draw a card, put a dead card in your hand to the bottom, and then decrease something by 2k, which is really strong on its own, because it gives you, well, more areas to KO stuff, which is just absolutely insane when you think about it, because of this leader makes cards like Nico Robin, Pell, Jet Pistol, the new film event that KOs a 5k or less character. This makes cards like these infinitely so much better, because it means that you can hit cards way easier, and having decrease built into a leader is great, because if your opponent has a rested character, you can always decrease that character as well and then swing into it for an easy KO. So like, this card is absolutely insane. It's already got tons of support as well, with Izo being out. It's getting more blue cards in the set, such as Ace, Diamond Jozo I think is another one, and could even get a new Whitebeard, which would be interesting to see what a blue Whitebeard would do, even though we've already got a yellow one and a red one. So it's going to be interesting to see how Marco plays out, but I see Marco being one of the next top tier leaders, just because having the ability to decrease something by 2k, having the access to the blue color that has tons of removal, like, definitely I see this leader being very, very strong, and I can't wait to try it out myself. So definitely a very, very strong addition coming out in OP08. And then next, we have King. Now, as we all know, King's original leader was absolute garbage. So let's go ahead and see what this new King does here. So, King, OP08, purple-black leader, 4 life, 5k power, Animal Kingdom Pirates. Activate main, once per turn, -2 Don. You may return the specified number of Don to your Don deck. Choose 1. If your hand is 5 or less, draw 1 card. Decent. Give up to 1 of your opponent's characters -2 cost this turn. Okay. This leader has a lot of potential, and you guys might be thinking, wait, what? This leader's actually good? Because some people, I think, will think this leader at first glance is pretty bad, because at first glance you have to be like, oh, I got a -2 Don to go ahead and draw a card or get -2 cost. But something that I don't understand is King is an Animal Kingdom Pirates card. King is purple. So not only does it have the ability to, one, draw cards to, you know, increase your hand size, but it also has the ability to neg 2 cost. So it's got the ability to give you more cards in hand, which is just great. And the fact that it can decrease cost gives every black card you could potentially play the ability to KO stuff very easily, right? So it's got 2 really good abilities for the 2 colors it's in. But why is it good when it has a neg 2 cost? Well, this leader has access to Onigashima. You know, that free cost stage that says rest, add a rested Don? Like, having access to that means so much in this deck. Like, having access to that means that you've got the ability to draw cards for 1 Don per turn, essentially, which is just really, really good. And on top of that, you can decrease things by 2 cost, meaning that you could play stuff like Sakazuki, for instance, the black character, to go ahead and trash a card that you might have drawn to KO stuff up to like 8 cost. You can KO 8 costs, which is really, really good. Like, this leader has potential in so many different ways, and it being Animal Kingdom Pirates also gives you access to the 10-drop Kaido, which just means, oh, yeah, I'm gonna just wipe the board anyway and not care at all. So this leader has access to some of the best black cards to KO stuff. It has access to Onigashima to ramp very, very easily. It has the ability to draw you cards, meaning if your hand size or you don't have a lot of good cards in your hand, you can draw a card potentially and put a Don back. And if you're on 8 Don or 10 Don, then essentially you're using that 2 Don to draw, and then you're going to get that 2 Don back next turn. And if you have Onigashima or hell, even 5 cost kids out, you're essentially getting back an active Don every time you utilize this. So King here, I think this leader has a massive amount of potential. I think this leader is going to be very, very strong in the new set, and I can't wait to see what people come up with while playing King, because it's gonna be a very, very interesting leader to see played. So yeah, first King leader, absolute trash. Second King leader, they actually got something going here, guys. So let's go ahead and continue on to the next leader, seeing as this leader I definitely see having potential. Okay, so the next one is Charlotte Pudding. Okay, so another Big Mom leader, purple, yellow, has 4 life, 5 power, and when attacking, you may turn the top 2 life cards of your life face up, add up to 1 Don card from your Don deck as rested. So, okay, this leader is actually pretty interesting, and I'm gonna say this now, this could be really, really good, or this could be really, really bad. And the reason I'm saying this is because, yes, this is a leader that says I get an extra Don every turn, essentially, for just attacking, which is pretty decent, right? Like, you're getting the Don. But my issue comes down to it. How many cards are we going to get that turn life back face down? How many cards will we get that actually, you know, allow us to put them back into our pile face down so we can reflip them to go ahead and get Don? Like, yes, this leader is technically busted because you can get to 10 Mum a whole turn early if you use its ability twice, right? And obviously, you're going to want to go first with her because you can go ahead and play Pudding, you can then go ahead and swing on turn 1, guarantee that you're flipping up the top 2 life instantaneously to get that additional Don, so you're on 4, and then you get to go ahead and go to 9 earlier. Like, you get to get these abilities, which is very, very decent, and you get the Don, which is nice, and also you know what life is coming as well, so you know if you got a trigger, you know if you want a Hiyori to go ahead and take a life and then put a life down, like, you know these things, which is pretty decent. But in all honesty, it really comes down to the fact of what kind of cards do we get in OP08 that will help the Big Mom Pirates, will help Pudding. Like, we only have currently 1 card, to my knowledge, that can flip life back face down, and that's an EB01, and it's the Viola card, which is essentially a blocker that says, on play, you can turn all of your face-up life cards face down, which is, yeah, pretty decent. But I'm not too sure how good it will be with the Pudding leader, especially if you don't get enough of these cards that can do that. So going forward, I don't know how broken Pudding's going to be, but we all know 10 Mum is an insanely broken card. Like, being able to utilize Big Mom Pirates is also very, very strong. So we'll definitely see what this card will do, what this deck is going to become. I just think we need to see more support first, because all we know right now is that there's an OP08 card that is a purple 1-cost searcher that looks at the top 5 cards of your deck, and it's a Big Mom Pirates or Animal Kingdom Pirates from your deck to your hand. So that's all we know right now, but once we see more of this card, I feel like we'll get a better idea to see how good it will actually be going forward. So yeah, right now not too sure, but we'll see what happens, alright? And then the last leader we have is Calgara. Yes, we have a Shandorian leader now. Definitely not Koza, which is actually kind of interesting. So Calgara is a yellow leader, 5 life, 5k power, Jaya Sky Island Shandorian warrior, 1 Don. When attacking, put a character with the Shandorian warrior type from your hand into play that has a cost equal to or less than the number of Don cards you control. Then if you played a card, put the top card of your life into your hand. Now, this leader is interesting. Now, yellow obviously currently is a deck that does have a lot of life manipulation. You can gain a lot of life back, but I'm not too sure how good this character will be until we see what kind of characters we get. Because what I think is really going to be needed to make Calgary here a good leader is we're going to need Shandorian characters, Shandorian warrior characters specifically, that allow us to put cards from our hand back into our life. Because the way I see this leader is, yes, you're playing characters for free, but you taking that life is very, very detrimental. Because you having to take that life means that you're losing out on a potential trigger, which is already unfortunate, because you want to be able to have your triggers so you can go ahead and play your cards very easily and go ahead and get free advantage of those triggers, right? That's the whole point of yellow. Yellow is a very high rolly deck where you want to go ahead and get triggers, you want to kind of cheese the win, but with something like Calgary here, you're kind of going against that by taking the life. So unless you get cards that are very similar to like Hayori and the Big Mom leader, it's gonna be interesting to see. I feel like this is gonna need characters that say on play, put 1 Shandorian warrior or Shandorian card or Sky Island card even from your hand into your life, and that's gonna be what's really gonna make or break this leader here for me. Now obviously it could be absolutely busted and I could be wrong. Like, you could have characters that are like 8 costs that you play for free and then you get some stupid effect out of them, which could be very, very strong. But I just think we need to see what kind of characters we get first and go from there to really justify how good this leader can be. Because right now, I think the leader does have a lot of potential. Like, this leader is insane in theory, depending on what kind of Shandorian warrior cards that we get. Because taking a life, you lose your trigger, which is a bit unfortunate, but if you get characters that put cards back there, it will make up for that. But anyway, guys, this has been my leader review. What do you think on all the leaders on OP08? Do you think these cards are good? Do you think these cards are bad? I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions, because obviously we've got a lot of new leaders coming out in this, and I think all of them do have a place and are very, very interesting. The leaders that I'm probably most looking forward to playing is the King leader and the Marco leader. I think these two, in my opinion, are the most interesting out of the two, because they do just have a lot of synergy with their colors and can do a lot. Like, these two leaders can potentially do a lot for their colors, and I feel like it'll be interesting to see how far these two will go. So guys, tell me what your thoughts are on the Chopper leader, the Carrot leader, like all of the leaders here. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Absolute Duelist signing out. Later on.